them by self-righteous people to prove that you can get to heaven by works. Especially verse 40. Especially verse 40, 25, 40. Almost every Masonic hospital has that thing engraved in it somewhere. Have you got that thing on it? Matthew 25, verse 40. Inasmuch you've done it to one of the least of these, my brethren, you've done it to me. That's communist Christianity. That's humanism. That's worshiping men instead of God and pretending that when you do a good act toward your fellow man, you're doing a good act toward Jesus Christ. And it's not necessarily so. In the first place, you do a good act toward your fellow man. The fellow man you do a good act toward may go to hell. You don't represent Christ even directly or indirectly. Now this passage here is pure works, and it shows the kind of works that have to go on in the tribulation. When I first got saved, this passage really bothered me, and I've been saved, must have been saved about a month when I began to read through this thing. Got all shook up, and I asked some people around where I was to explain it, and none of them could explain it. And about that time, somebody up the country in Alabama told me, they said there's a prophetic teacher up here teaching at Dixon Mill, Alabama, and his name is Roy Kemp. He's memorized the book of Revelation. Said, why don't you go up and hear him? So I went up the country. This was about 3 months after I saved. Went to a place called Dixon Mills. There was a pastor there. His name was Roy McCallum. And I got up there, and when he found I could paint, he said, how about painting me a baptistry? So I painted a baptistry, and about that time, he got on me and said, have you been baptized yet? And I said, no, I haven't been baptized. And so he said, well, you ought to follow the Lord in baptism. I said, okay. So I went to the Bible conference to this fellow speak, and one night after supper, I sat down in the swing with him after supper, and I said, now, I'm worried about this passage here. This passage is, I was hungry, you gave me meat. I was thirsty, you gave me drink. I was a stranger, you took me in. Naked, you clothed me. I was sick, you visited me. I was in prison, you came to me. I said, I've never done those things. I said, I never helped